that box that jumps on your screen, click that word "Got it." Should clear that box out of the way. And then the setup you need here. And again, I highly recommend taking the time to set up like this when you're doing this class, because then you get the most benefit. Take some time initially to go, okay, you need 3 chairs, 2 of which have to have these high backs that you can use to work on your balance to help develop this jong jung, or vertical alignment, vertical central upright. We need that because we have to be able to relax while standing, and that's hard to do if you don't feel like we have a safety mechanism. And then you need this 3rd chair or something to sit on in between the 2. We want a good amount of room here, some space. And sit towards the front edge. Get to that front edge, plug the buttock bones down. You can feel your connecting to the ground through your legs somewhat, like we're using our legs somewhat to find groundedness and balance, but most of it is actually the chair. So we're almost becoming like a tripod. We have the chair and then 2 legs. And this is very valuable practice, just working on how you sit in your chair so that when you're sitting, let's say watching television, or sitting at a table, or you're listening to a lecture somewhere, that's not to say you have to sit like this the whole time, but you don't want to just be slouched back into your chair, crumpling, your breath shrinking and shrinking, your central upright being broken throughout. And something I've noticed with the Parkinson's folks that I'm working with, as if they spend too much time back in a chair like this, then when it comes time to stand up, they're leery, overly cautious of being forward in the body. So then there's this, I'm gonna fall. That energy that's in the body comes, a lot of it, from how they're sitting in their chair, sort of letting everything almost like water logging back energetically. So again, that's something you want to think about. Let me mute everybody here. Something you want to think about, because there's a lot of opportunities for practice, little opportunities like we're doing here, where you just go, okay, I'm going to be sitting for a little while. Let me scoot forward, set the feet, feel that central upright go down through the tripod of chair and 2 legs. Feel this idea that the crown is almost being drawn upward through like a string tied to the crown of the head. So we're feeling a lightness, a quality of flotation. Breathe in through the nose, fill the body, fill the lungs, and then out through the mouth, sort of like a sigh. Soften. Let the breath stay empty for a moment before then, in the nose, inhaling. Filling up, holding full, maybe even bringing a little more breath, in, training those muscles. And then when it's time, exhale out the mouth like a sigh. Let's do that about 6, 7 more times. An important piece of this as well is when we inhale and fill up, sometimes that gives buoyancy to our posture. But then when we exhale, I've noticed people do this a lot, whereas they exhale, they slouch and they sort of crumple. And then they inhale again, and oh, there's that buoyancy again. Wonderful. What you want to do is, as you exhale, keep some aspect of it. So you're exhaling out, and it's more like squeezing in, then a crumpling of the body. So keep this integrity of structure even as you inhale and expand, exhale and consolidate. So it's like a balloon opening and shrinking. Let's do this about 4 more breaths. Body is made up of many different mechanisms. One of them is this breath chassis that we want to have moving perfectly. Most people, doesn't just mean Parkinson's folks or even elder folk, most people are not breathing thoroughly, maximizing in, finishing the out. So we really want to get that moving. And I'm noticing Christy yawning. That is a wonderful sign as well, because when we really start to open up spaces inside that are a little tense, that's the natural response of the body, is to go and pull that breath in, right? And so allow for that and encourage those yawns. If you feel that little sleepy quality, allow for that to trigger deep yawning. Now, slide your hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back, chest and chin up, arch the back. And then slide the hands forward, hollow the chest, drop the head and round back. Then again, slide the hands back, elbows, shoulder blades, arch. And with the exhale, rounding, hollowing, dropping the head. We'll just do this again. Get all the mechanisms, the moving parts, to move a little bit. Because the healthy body is the changeable body, the movable body, the flowing body. That's where our stability will come from, is complete freedom of movement of all the parts, organized by a soft, flowing relationship of all the parts and all the layers. After you finish your next one, then come back to the middle, right in the middle, neutral. Left hand forward, right hand and elbow back, right? So this little change of the hands, and then turn to the right. And then switch, turn to the right. And turn. And turn. Let's do a few more. So those similar or same parts, just moving in a different way. So it's the vertebra of the spine that are interesting joints. We just did flexion and extension. Now we're doing rotation. Rotation. And then back to the middle, and we do lateral flexion and extension. So as you lean to your right, lift the left wrist and empty that left foot and feel flexion on your right, extension on the left, and then switch. Flexion on the left, extension or opening all along the right, including the neck, and then cross the other way. So again, it's understanding the anatomy, understanding how this body is built, but then where the Taoist and Tai Chi and Qigong practices differ, and I would say transcend Western physiology, is the understanding of the importance of soft, supple, and hydraulic, and liquid, and fluid. That's where it's unique insight that can offer us a lot of remedy for what's going on here. Now, arms come back, body in the middle. Now we address the fact that the shoulder blades, chest, arm, neck area tends to be a total bind on both sides, right? And some worse than the others, right? But first, let's shrug up and melt down. So that's just getting elevation of shoulder blades and then releasing them to slide all the way to relax. And again, the mechanism of the shoulder blades doesn't just do this. That's why it's so important. This does something for us, but if we don't do all the movements, we're allowing residue, rust, barnacles, and glue to be stuck there, and that has not great implications. So now, shoulder blades spread apart, then up, then they come back together and slide down and under. We'll do that again. When the shoulder blades go apart, the arms naturally come forward, then they lift, then they naturally draw, the shoulder blades go back, the arms naturally come a little bit back, slide down under. So the arms are moving, but they're moving because the shoulder blade is driving this movement. And when you really find it, it's like a treasure trove of pain and residue back there that when you clean it out, it really liberates so many different things, from the neck and head movement to arm and shoulder movement to balance. Let's reverse, go back, then up, over, top, forward, then down, back, up, over, top, forward, and down, back and up, down. And Chris, I'll remind you, your left arm, if you don't pay extra attention to it, it's going to lag. But all it takes is just that awareness of, okay, that's the affected arm, and I need to just make sure that that arm is along for the ride. Exactly right. Very good. So try to be proactive in that sense. Remember that. And finish. And then we just fold here at the elbows, and we lead through the tips of the elbows. But the reason we lead through the elbows is because it pulls the root in here more open. So lift, and then down, and then bring them across and touch, down, flare out and up. And again, when you get up here, feel this potential for opening all this area. And then down. This is also a really good one for the movements like this are great for fall and winter, because that's where people tend to get sick, right? Where we're fighting off various little issues, viral issues. And so our lymph nodes in here might get stagnant and overfilled. And so here we're also helping pump the lymphatic system. So any movements here help that. Now go elbows back behind, right? Then down, forward. Again, remember, we're leading through the tips of the elbows, up, and then elbows forward, down, and back, and then down, forward, up. So this is getting even more of that lymphatic clearing, because this is a mechanism, a way that the joints and tissues are built to move. But if we don't do it, then it just gets shut down. And over time, the brain even shuts down the ability to command this movement. The brain says, especially as we're aging, it says, well, if we're not using it, we must not need it, and we're going to divert power to just the areas that we're using. Now let's go elbows out, one above, one below, cross, and then hug. Give the body a nice hug, and then release that. And elbows out, not back. So out to the side, but not back. Then the other arm on top, close and hug. And then open. And open. Close. Then down and release. Loose. So the net result of that work should be a ability to swing the arm not from this socket here, right? If this is all frozen and the shoulder is frozen, then when I swing the arm, it's just at this socket, and that actually bothers the shoulder over time. But when we realize, oh, the fulcrum point, the pivot point, the top of the pendulum is in the space, in this space, then when you swing the arm, the shoulder blade is sort of free to move on your back. The arm is also free. So see if you can just get that sense here as you swing and swing. Swing. This looseness. And the one that really helps with that is when you go behind. To let the arms go behind, the shoulder blade has to sort of wing up a little. The arm bone has to go into this position. So we got to allow for that freedom of movement. And relax. And then swing your right arm forward, your left arm back. So it causes this little turn, this little rotation at our central pivot. And then switch, 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 switch. And the importance here is I'm not stiff and then turning my body, right? Like this. I'm relaxed. And then going, okay, arms, go there. And this movement that's induced is what we're looking for. Relax, so relaxed that you're inducing a free, loose movement rather than grabbing the body and forcing you. And then just relax. Now we lift, right knee, pull right heel in like you're drawing it to the butt cheek, and then push away, and then knee up, and then put the foot down. This one. So we're not pushing against any major resistance, right? So the purpose of this isn't really strength, let's say, right? Like you're in the gym pushing against weight. But what it is about is range. Unhindered movement through the entire range of compress, extend, compress, and back. So that full range, all the way, all the way. And again, that has implications in the brain as well as the joints and tissue and fluid. Because what I've noticed, especially with the Parkinson's, is that it seems that a lot of the limitations of range do come from the brain. The movements get stuck in a sort of shrunken range. And so the act of making it go all the way, being present and then present, the idea would be that that helps the nervous system keep that range available. Now, same idea with the foot. Straighten your right leg. Now it's point, flex. Make sure it's the whole range, as pointed as it can go, as flexed as it can go. So fewer repetitions done thoroughly, completely. Now tilt the foot in a little, out a little. This is sort of a micro control movement. And then we circle. And reverse that circle. And we're carving that with the brain, in the brain. And then down. Other leg, point, flex. Point, flex. Invert, tilt, evert, tilt. Tilt, tilt. Circles. Reverse, circles. And down. Scoot forward to the front edge of your chair. Step a little wider apart than hip distance. Lift the toes off the ground. Turn the knees and toes in. Knees and toes out. Remember this idea of mechanisms. Different functions. So that's really what we're exploring. We're exploring, again, the brain and those commands to the body. We're exploring, joint nourishing and tissue nourishing. But really, we're trying to find these different functions and tune them up. and back to neutral. Now the folding function of the hip hinge, and then the rise, and then a little bit of a leaning back from the hips, and then rise, and then the hip hinge, and then rise, and the slight lean back, and the hip hinge. So these are just the functions of the vehicle, just like a car. I don't know enough about cars, but I'm sure they, the axle and the tires and the drivetrain and the various pistons and all of that, they all got to be working for that car to drive well, otherwise it breaks down. So here we're just going through, hitting all the mechanics, kind of tuning up. Now stay sitting forward, stay sitting up, slide your feet back just an extra little bit. Now remember looseness in the arms and shoulders. Keep that looseness. So when you fold, the arms, shoulders, and head, you want them in front of your ankles. So that now as you come out of the chair, your butt is behind the ankles, arms, shoulders, head in front. And then just push, come all the way to vertical. Make sure you get to vertical. I'll remind David, right? David Wagner, that's your main thing to focus on, is actually getting to here. So that when you stand up, go ahead and stand up when you're ready, that you don't stop here. And David has a more pronounced version of this, but everyone is usually doing this a little bit. Everyone's kind of a little back here, and then the head and neck do this little funny thing. So get those hips underneath. And so to get us to do that, let's even push the hips a little forward. So notice I'm pushing the butt forward. That causes a little bit of a backwards feel, but I'm not forcing that, right? And then stick the butt back and go and sit in your chair. So you fold, you sink down, land. Let's do that again. We're adding that pelvis push forward. So again, first folding, getting arms in front of ankles. We come up, 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 and then we go even too far. Hips forward. And then stick the hips back. Sink. And again. Too far. Now, squats. Don't sit in your chair, but act exactly the same as if you were gonna. Sink down and then rise straight back up. Pushing hips a bit forward. And again, sink, rise. And the thing you want to feel is this softness. That's that unique emphasis when you're a Tai Chi, Qigong, Taoist movement practitioner, is that you're always thinking, can I use my hydraulic system, my liquid system, to execute this movement? And most of the time, the answer is yes. You can do quite a few functional activities and never tense up and grab the bottom. All right, now standing, facing forward, move closer to the right side chair. So now I'm speaking, this is my left hand, but I'm going to say right hand, so as to just be your mirror. So now the chair is there if you need to use it. But for this first one, try to have no hand on anything. Leisurely, casually, change your weight over to your left leg. Don't lift your right foot off the ground. So your feet stay on the ground equally, but you've just chosen full, empty. And then from your middle, represented by the navel, by the belly button level of the body, change so that your weight goes over and down through the right leg. And then from your middle, because a lot of times people move from the upper body and that throws them off. So relax everything. And just from this middle pivot, just change your weight. Let the weight go down through the left leg so your right foot is emptier. And then down through the right leg. Left foot is empty. So now we're just, this concept of the mechanisms. We're inducing movement of a particular internal mechanism that is vital, absolutely vital. It's a combination of the quad or the two hip groin areas, this area, as well as belly and lower back and the place in between. This whole region tends to get stuck. And so we're getting that to warm and loosen and move. And note that you can do it without any extra tension anywhere in the body. Just leisurely 100, 0, leisurely 100, 0. So this would be your #1 at-home walking practice, because the moment you start trying to go from where you are to somewhere else, it gets dicey, it gets a little scary, or it's just more difficult. There's more variables. So this is this kind of basic warm-up. If you feel imbalanced, you feel a little cautious, just stand where you are, try to relax, try to connect down to the earth, and just get this change of weight happening. Now we step it up a notch. So now stay in your right leg, lift your empty left heel, try to get to the tip of the shoe. So you really separate 100, 0. Put the heel back down while it's still 0, and then change. Now, when this is full, this is empty, lift to the tippy toe, put the heel down, change. So track the fact that just adding this little element suddenly puts the fear inside the body. For some of you, maybe all of you. Just the act of taking the heel away from the ground, lifting it, getting to that tippy toe, and we want to try to relax in the face of that fear, because that relaxation is what connects us to the earth. This soft, this down, this throughness. That's the Taoist viewpoint on balance. Let it go through, not stuck in the body. Let it go through. We're going to take it one notch higher. Use the chair. So get to your tippy toe, then lift the foot off the floor. So now that causes a whole nother layer of concern to the nervous system. Put the foot down, empty, and then change. Wait until you're full, empty, then go tippy toe, disconnect, using chair as needed, reconnect, change. Tippy toe first, disconnect, reconnect, change from your middle. The middle is where that stillness that we're all looking for, that stability, that's where the Taoists say we find it. Is freedom of movement of all the tissue and joints and parts and fluid and electricity, all of that moving unhindered. And then when we have that open state, then we find this middle. Now use the hand on chair to really get this complete lift, like you're having to step up on a really high rock or something, or a stair. Then put the leg all the way down with no weight. That is very important. Then change. Once this is empty, use the chair so that you can completely get to this lifted position, and then without letting any weight go into that leg, lengthen it all the way to the floor. Then change. Tippy toe lift. Soften it all the way down. Change from the middle. Don't prematurely try to yank the leg up. That's what also gets people in trouble. Is sort of like a lack of patience in a sense. So just be patient, just patient, train yourself to sense when the fullness has occurred and the emptiness has occurred, and then up and down can become swifter as you get better at really letting go and letting through. Then that lift, down, change, lift, then change. Okay. Now, empty your right foot and put that foot out in front. So I'm going to angle myself a little like this. You can see some angles. You just stay exactly as you are, facing forward. Now, this heel is touching. Change the weight into that leg. Now, even though it looks like I'm moving forward, which I am, I'm not thinking forward. I'm thinking down. Down. That's downness is what gives me the correct up. So by going down to the earth, not forward, I move forward and keep my vertical axis intact. And then down. I moved backwards, but I didn't go over my skis. Down. Down. So this adds another element because we're moving forward, moving backward. But the good news is just relax and pay attention to down, as they say. Primary direction, down. Down. And how do we get down? That's the hard part. Soften. Relax. Now let's take it up a notch. Go into your back leg. Use the chair as needed as you lift your front leg from the empty hip. Place the heel back down and then change into that leg. Then once you're on the tippy toe of your back foot, just bend the knee. Set the toe down. Change. So now we float. Once the weight is down here, this is free to safely lift up and down. And then once the weight is really down to the earth here, then this is free to disconnect without disturbing my peace, right? My stability, my stillness. Change. So we're sort of polishing out excess effort and finding, I can execute this functional movement and use these mechanisms with much less effort, much less energy. That makes you efficient. Now, hand on chair for sure here as we lift. And then lower, softly touching the heel. And then shift. Back leg, bring it forward and up. Reach the toe back. Shift back. Once this one is empty, again, using chair for safety, lift. Heel softly down. Then change the weight. Then back leg forward and up. Reach the toe back. Shift. One more. We're just training ease. Training relaxation. Now, step your feet together. Put the weight through your right leg and side step so that you're now closer to your other chair. Change angle so you can see. Put the weight through your right leg and left foot in front, heel touching, empty. Primary direction down. Primary direction down. 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 Relax. So there's verticality and then softness. Or zhongjung and chunwan. Chunwan. Softening and sinking to find stability rather than holding on for dear life. And use the chair, lift, lower, shift, and then just from the knee, we'll bend, down, change. If you feel pretty good with that one, you can try no hand, but know that the chair is there for safety, and you just be patient enough to find completely grounded down through to where it's empty, and that's what gives it its freedom of movement. Emptiness, relaxation is what gives it swiftness. And we take it up a notch. It's empty, it folds all the way up, down, shift, and then we bring it forward and up, reach it back, shift. And it's this looseness, loose, 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 that we usually don't have going on. Because when we bring it up here, we're usually tightening things to hold it, and that makes a lot of different problems happen. But when you come up, see if you can feel it loose all the way here, still loose. And then change. So now this is the mountain. This is that grounded quality. And the looseness just allows it freedom. Change. last one. And step feet together. Put the weight through your left leg, side step. Let's go over to this chair again. Put right foot in front. Change the weight. Empty, step. And then change. Now we, again, primary direction, down. Step the empty foot, keeping it empty. And then primary direction, down. Down. Wait for it to be truly empty, then it can step with ease. Down. Down. Step that empty foot, keeping it empty. Down. Couple more. Just make it just casual walking now. You're just taking a step forward and casually stepping back. Remember that stillness that we want to feel, that we're all yearning to feel while we're moving. That's that feeling of stable, balanced, safe. Comes not from more tension or more effort, but from more looseness, more ease, more relaxation. Easier than it sounds. Or, I'm sorry, harder than it sounds to relax in transit. Level 2, we go up. Again, this is where chairs are handy. Up, down, change. Now, something's on the ground. I got to pick my foot up and step over it. And then change. Little flamingo lift. Down. Change. Now, up, tuck, reach, shift, empty, change, empty, it stays empty, it stays empty, stays empty, change, flamingo, change. Remember which direction to look, not with your eyes, but to attend to. What direction? Down. We're looking for down to give us that support, to plug in to the earth. That keeps us from getting up here and falling forwards and back. Finally, level 3, we go up, down, change. And then this is kind of exaggerated for range of motion. Bend the knee, knee up, foot out, lower it empty, change. And then it's heel to butt, and knee up, and then we reverse. Back, change. We go knee all the way up, tuck, reach, change, up, change. Where to look for your balance. How do we get down? Relax. One more. And switching sides, feet parallel, step, get near your other chair. Level 1, put that left foot in front, casual as can be. Change the weight, back foot is empty, step it while it's empty, keeping it empty, and then change. So you're not falling into the foot. Change back, step the right foot while it's empty, and then change. Again, shift, step, shift, and reverse. Again. Shift. And level 2, from this hip, lift, lower, shift, over an obstacle. Foot down, empty, shift, flamingo, down, shift. And then this one where it's up in front, tuck and reach back without weight going back, and then shift. So that's the most important part of this exercise. Usually this becomes pretty easy because we're going this way, we're used to that, but it's in this moment here that we often lose our groundedness through the full leg and we fall back. But notice how I've reached back, but I'm still here. And then change. Training our middle. Let's go level 3. Up. Down. Down to the earth. Now it's heel, knee, foot, down. Chain. Heel to butt, knee up, then reach the toe back. Chain. So we're really just training our middle to retain its equilibrium with all these changes. And these Tai Chi walking exercises, we haven't added any of the other coordinations that you might add because we really want to break it into its 2 parts and really tune up the 2 parts before we add them together. So that's what that Friday class is for, is the upper body coordinations and other mechanics. Last one. Training our middle. Training our middle. Now, come to the left side of your space, and then turn and face down range or across the range. So you have 5, 6 possible steps across the room. You got your chairs on your left, so there's safety. There's some safety you can go to in an emergency. Empty your left foot, put it in front. Now just level 1, casual step, casual. See if you can get across the room and not even think forward or backward at all. Just think down. And then we'll go backwards, same idea. Backwards is always a little trickier, but just think down, down. And once you get one foot down, the other foot is free to step. And then you got to go down through that foot. Down. Down. Remember, you're training your middle. You're not trying to grab your middle. That's not what we're training. We're training our middle to relax. So that everything on all sides, in front and back, above, below, all of those aspects that are around our middle are free, are loose, are open. And then our middle is this sort of floating, spacious quality. Level 2, we lift and lower, and now with every step, up and over something. If this feels too dangerous or too tricky, just go back to level 1. Remember, the down is the key. Down. Down. Going in reverse is always a little trickier. Just think down. Down. All right, and then turn and face forward once you're on the far left of your space. And put the weight down through that left leg, right foot out, in. We're going to do that a few different times. A few times. Out and in. And what we're really looking for is empty, and it's still empty. 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 So that there's no pulling like that. Like that. There's my weight through the left and the freedom of my right. Then put that right foot out, and now we change 100, 0. Change back. Change. So the mechanism of the leg, the Tai Chi understanding of the leg is different than how most people think about it. A lot of people think of it kind of functioning like a stilt or like a peg leg, where this is more like a bed spring. I'm letting the weight go through the leg, and that springiness, that springy function is how I'm sunk down. Springy function down. Now, bring left foot in, out, in, out, in, out. And then bring it in and keep it in. Now we change. Go down through the left, change down through the right. This is one of the absolute best for quad, belly, and low back mechanism to loosen that up, to get that moving, because we have no room to lean because the feet are together. So we really have to find this changing mechanism here in your middle. Now, weight down through the left, step right foot out, change, springiness, empty, in, change, spring, empty, step, change, spring, empty, step, down through the left, the right is free to step, down through the right, the left is free to step, down, down. Switching directions. If you can key in, those of you especially have been doing it a while, you probably have the mechanism of the leg more tuned up. See if you can get really good at just letting that mechanism function. So it just kind of drops right through, and there's that little bendability in the leg. One more time there and back. Let it drop through, drop through, drop through. Add a little awareness of the turning. Maybe even a little awareness of the bear washing paws. Now this is advanced Tai Chi. The moment we start adding some of those Friday class movements to our being in transit, bear swats the fish, brush knee and push. Now we're training, like I was saying before, freedom of movement of all the parts connected to the middle. But when we have that freedom of movement, the middle is still feeling as if it's totally stable. So it might look like we're slinging our body all over the room, but inwardly the experience when you're doing it right is relaxed. And then finally, let's come to the place right between the chairs. Got chairs on either side. Weight goes down through your left leg. Turn the right foot out. Bring it back to neutral. Turn the right foot in and back to neutral. Now, awareness here. The hips and the shoulders and the head, let them, as you turn your right leg out, let the hips turn a little bit. So we're arranging ourselves to see what's going on over here and possibly to move in that direction. And then back to middle. And then this side as well. It's not just my leg, it's the hips and the body turning to now be arranged to see what's going on over there. Now let's go to the other side. So we just turn, open, turn. Now this is still empty, full. So the left is full, the right is empty. So even when I turn it out and turn it in, I'm not letting my weight go into it. Turn it out, turn it in. And then let's switch. So the weight goes down through the right leg. We turn out, we let the hips turn a little, the shoulders, the head, we're aiming this way. And then we're turning middle. Turning to the right with this left foot turned in. And then turning out to the left, seeing what's going on over here, and then changing. Or on this side. Turning out, in. Out, in. And now in transit, change the weight to your left leg. Turn the right foot out. Now the weight goes down through the right leg. The body then arranges and reorients to face this way. So a quarter turn. Now the weight goes down through the left leg again. Right foot is free. Turn the right foot out and the body a little bit. And then just keep flowing in that direction. Weight goes down through the right, and now another quarter turn. Weight down through the left leg, turn the right foot out again. Turn. And one more time. Empty the right foot, turn it out. Change the weight, reorient. Let's go around one more time. Left full, right empty, turn out. Change. Left foot empty, turn out. And just notice this is about the maximum change of orientation you can get by doing this footwork, by doing right foot turned out and then bringing everything to neutral. All right, let's do it again. And let's do the left foot. Turn left foot out. Change and turn. Left foot empties, turn it out, change and turn. We're seeing how far, how much of a turn in space can you get with this challenge. And this isn't the maximum function of our legs, feet, and hips, but it is this first one we want to start with. And also this helps practice not getting dizzy. So just keep a soft gaze, just a soft gaze of space. And just let it just track the room so that you're not getting stuck in your vision and then that makes you a little dizzy. So it's just turning in the room nice and casual. Now, once you're facing forward, right leg turns out. Instead of that, we turn right leg in and the hips turn and the gaze looks this way. And then we're shifting into that right leg, bringing the left foot back to match, and we've quarter turned this way. Let's do that again. Right foot empty. You pigeon toe it. You turn and your body turns. So you're now seeing this new direction and then you're shifting and letting that left foot come to match. Right? So again, it's this empty right foot, turn it, and then shift. Go around twice. Scanning the room. So when you get comfortable with it, you can even turn the head almost independently. This is samurai swordsman footwork. This is functional footwork for dealing with 360 degrees of threat or whatever, right? Left foot turns in. I'm seeing what's going on here. I'm realigning. Then again, left foot empty. I'm pigeon toeing so I can see what's coming here. And then I'm reorienting to it. Foot pigeon toe, reorient. Looking around, seeing what's on my left, on my right, as I reorient my body. Go around twice. Once you get facing forward, stay there. So notice it took us 2 steps doing this exercise to get a quarter of the way around, 90 degrees. Now in 2 steps, we're gonna get 180 degrees. You can watch me do it if you don't remember this one. Right foot turns out just like we did. Now here's the key: as you shift, instead of just bringing your left foot parallel, do that pigeon toe movement. So now in 2 steps, I'm able to get all the way facing 180 degrees behind. Right foot should be empty. We do it again. Right foot turn out, shift onto it, and then the left foot pigeon toe, the body keeps turning, and now I'm facing back to the starting direction. So do this a few times. Take your time with it. Don't rush, but try to get this idea that you're changing weight, you're turning, you're looking with the head in the direction that you're trying to see, and then the body's starting to follow. So remember all these little turnable, movable parts. So it's not just the hips. It's every vertebra of the spine. It's the shoulders. It's the head and the neck that need to be loose to be able to operate this way, to turn. On this next time, as you get around to face forward, stay there so we can switch directions. Once we're facing forward again, if you're dizzy, always take a second, right? Just relax, let the body sort of settle back to its middle. And then we go left foot turn out. Now again, this is the weight going into the left. The right foot has to stay empty so that you can pigeon toe. And then in 2 foot movements, you should be able to face 180 degrees. And then you go left foot turn out, change the weight. Right foot is empty, pigeon toe. And should be able to get 180 more degrees. Couple more. Slower is better for many reasons. 1, because you can track it. 2, because it's safer. 3, because it's harder. It's more difficult to really be present, present, present. Just like paying attention is difficult. Paying attention while we eat, while we sip our teacup, while we read. Paying attention is difficult. So we want to be attending the whole time. All the way back to facing forward. Okay, so now as you're facing forward, hands together, rub the palms. Rub the back of one hand, palms. Back of other hand, palms. Qua, groin area. So you got genital area in the middle, the grooves on either side. Remember with Tai Chi massage, Qigong massage, we don't want to dig. We don't want to press. We want soft but vigorous, right? So a vigorous rub-a-dub-dub without a bunch of pressure. Same thing on your hip flexors. Notice how the angle of my hand movement has changed. It's going around, right? Going around and then back, across the fibers of the tendons of the hip flexor. And then around to the back, tailbone, sacrum, the SI on either side, and then up onto the lumbar, lower back muscles. And then, like we're doing our Tai Chi squat, butt goes back, sit the buttocks, sweep the hands down the outside of the legs, around to the inside, then stand up, bringing the hands up the yin channels, past the groin, past the quad, to the navel, and then go qua, hip flexors, tailbone, lumbar, and again, down the outside, around to the inside, up the inside, and to the navel last time, qua. Down, down, up. And then finally, as this reset, yang channels, yin channels, yang, yin, yang, yin. Just like a reset, just loose. And switching arms. And loose. Shoulder. Stay loose, stay relaxed. Chris, notice where my hands are? Yours are up here, mine are down here. This is your middle, yeah. And then boom, boom. All right, Taoist bow. Thank you, everybody. If there are any thoughts or questions, please unmute yourself to ask or share.